Hi, my name is Kylie Fodder, and this is my final persuasive speech. The title is Why Financial Education Should Be Mandated in High Schools. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to imagine that you're a student fresh out of high school. I want you to imagine or pretend that you don't know how credit cards work and that you don't know what a good financial decision is. I want you to pretend or imagine the results that this will have. Can you imagine how much debt you'll be in? Can you imagine the consequences this will take for the rest of your life? I am proposing that the Maine Department of Education should mandate a financial literacy course to be completed during the course of high school. I'm proposing this is a graduation requirement. My hopes is that in doing so, this will allow students to become more financially aware and be able to make good financial decisions. So that way the reality that we talked at the beginning of this, that won't happen. However, most schools don't teach about personal finance. This is for two reasons. The first is because the teachers themselves aren't comfortable. And honestly, it comes right down to the fact that they themselves weren't taught about personal finance. Studies were done that teachers were knowledgeable in topics such as debit cards and credit cards and how that works. However, what they did not know is investments and emergency funds. They knew how to handle the stuff right now, but they did not know how to prepare or to invest in their future. The simple solution to this is to start teaching students right now. If we teach this generation how to be financially independent, then can you imagine the effects this will have on future generations? Can you imagine the snowball effect that we'll have? If we start teaching this generation about finances, think about how this will only benefit the future. And the other reason why most schools don't teach about personal finance is that there's no room in the curriculum. Many schools have said that there is no room, nor is there any time to teach about personal finance. And while this may be true, my argument is that we teach students topics such as algebra, history, and science. These are all useful and these will all help benefit them. However, if we're willing to teach them those things, why aren't we willing to teach them about personal finance too? Personal finance will help set them up for the rest of their lives. And those consequences that we said at the beginning of the video, those won't happen. It will only benefit them. A lack of financial education may lead to lifelong struggles, or in fact, it most likely will lead to lifelong struggles. The consequences are dire. The consequences include high student loans, poor credit scores, and living paycheck to paycheck. The consequences of financial illiteracy affects more than just how much money you have. It affects way more than just how much you have in your wallet. It also affects how you're going to buy a house, if you're going to be able to get a loan. This will affect students in more ways than they can imagine. When you're young, you don't really think about these things. However, if they took a financial literacy course, then they would be knowledgeable and they would make good, smart financial decisions while they can. Because while you're young and you don't have bills to pay, it's the perfect opportunity to start saving money up. However, most students don't look at it this way. They look at it as they want to be able to live life how they want to while they still can. If they took a financial literacy course during high school, then they would know. I'm reading a book right now called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And in that, he says that traditional education teaches students how to be employees, but not financially independent. What he's talking about here is that traditional education teaches students how to work for money. It teaches them to get their degrees and to get a good, stable job that has plenty of benefits and on the outside looks really good. But in reality, they're just working for the government. They're living paycheck to paycheck. However, what Robert's saying about his rich dad is he teaches us how to be financially independent and how to invest and how to do things such as investing in real estate, which I don't really know much about, but he talks about how to make money work for you. That's what he's talking about when he says rich dad and poor dad. He's talking about the two different sides. Most schools today teach from the poor dad approach. The third reason for mandating a financial literacy course to be completed during the course of high school is that financial literacy will set students up for success. Financial literacy is something that will be used every single day. Studies show that students who receive financial education make better money decisions later on in life. A good case of this is the state of Florida. They have already mandated financial literacy to be a graduation requirement. Because of this, students in the area now can make good, wise decisions while they're still young, and this will only build that habit and help them grow from it. So I am proposing that the Maine Department of Education should mandate a financial literacy course to be completed throughout high school. I'm proposing that it's a graduation requirement. This will only help them because financial literacy has dire consequences, and financial illiteracy has dire consequences, but financial literacy will set students up for success. Looking around at the people today, you can just imagine how much better their lives would be if they had this knowledge. So, what are we waiting for?